Hey, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Yoga with Dave. Thank you for joining again on a Thursday afternoon. These weeks fly by and we're hurtling towards Christmas, and it's probably nearly a year since we've been doing these online classes. So if you've been with us for the whole of that year, then thank you for your support. You know, not just my classes, everybody else's as well. There's such an amazing array of stuff that you can get onto on the Virtual Village Hall, and all of those videos are available to you whenever you want to dip in and dip out. If you're new and you're new to yoga in general, then welcome. Everyone's always welcome. I just had this conversation on the phone with somebody who rang about yoga in our yoga space that we're teaching in Leicester. And we were talking about flexibility, which is usually how the conversation's going. People will say, oh, I don't do yoga because I'm not very flexible, or I thought about doing yoga and I'm not very flexible, or I'm not strong enough, or I think I'm too old, or I think I've got the wrong body. And there's all of these ideas that keep us from starting a practice. So if you got this far, then congratulations, because all of the hard work has been done, because you're here and you're on your mat. And that's probably, the hardest thing to do, because we have all of these things in our head that tells us why we shouldn't probably practice yoga. So you made it this far. And I think that's an incredible thing. And I don't say that lightly. And I genuinely do mean that, because yoga can be an incredibly healing practice for us. So if we think about the overall practice of yoga, then people think about the physicality of it more than anything, looking good and being strong and being flexible. None of that stuff matters, and in some ways, the physical benefits of yoga is a byproduct of the whole practice of yoga, because of course we do come into postures and, we get stronger and we get more flexible, but it's kind of the idea that that's a byproduct, with that regular steady practice that happens anyway. So don't worry about not being flexible. Don't worry about, not thinking you're fit enough or strong enough, because if you get on your mat time and time again, then you're going to get there anyway. And that's an amazing thing. So what we'll do today is we'll kind of look at all of those aspects. Of course, we're going to move and, we'll bend and we'll stretch the body and we'll engage the body in the ways that we normally do. But what I'd like to do at the start today is to get into a little bit of breath work. And breath work can be very powerful. And we call it pranayama in yoga. So we'll look at 2 pranayama practices that are incredibly healing, and they can be energizing as well. And there's that idea in life that we look beyond ourselves, we're looking out to gain satisfaction. It's there, if I just go to the shops and buy that thing, then I'm going to be happy, and that it probably does for a little bit, but then that wanes, so grasping and looking outside for our happiness is probably not what we should be doing. I don't need to lecture you on this, surely. This is not a lecture, by the way. So what I'm trying to say is that it's all here, it's here. It's not out there. All of the goodness, all of your richness is already here. We just mask it probably with our circumstances of our lives, what's happened to us, and trauma, whatever it may be. So that's really empowering, and that's exciting, because if we know it's not out there, and that's not saying that, relationships and connection are not important. Of course they are. And we've all kind of missed that, especially the last 18 months. And hopefully, we will continue to connect more and more. But if we know that it's in here and you just need to access it, then wow, that's empowering. And that can be really exciting. It excites me anyway. So with breath, my yoga teacher used to say, it's the infinite pharmacy within. So when we need to make ourselves feel better and heal ourselves, we've got it here. And I'm not saying, you can heal yourself of any illness. I'm not saying that at all. But a lot of the stuff, the kind of the daily trials and tribulations, or the fluctuations of the mind, which we talk about in yoga, can be solved by coming to this heart center. All right. So make sure you're comfortable. Welcome to Sheena. Thank you for your messages. And what we're going to do is we're going to just sit on our mats, and I'm just going to move back, and I'm just going to adjust the camera. So you make yourself comfortable, however feels good for you. I've got a little blanket here. I'm going to sit on this blanket and I'm going to roll it up. And if you want to sit up against the wall, or even in this part, you can sit on a chair. Just make sure that everything feels good. And when we arrive, usually what we do is we draw a little bit of length into the spine and we relax the shoulders. And the hands can just go wherever you want them to be. I'm one of those yoga teachers that doesn't get too hung up on alignment. As long as you're not hurting yourself, then you're in a perfect position. But thinking about alignment a little bit, try not to sit where, the shoulders are slumped and, your belly starts to pile forward. See if you can draw that little bit of length in the spine. So instead of sitting here, which is probably like a lot of us sit on our computers or our necks down and we're looking at the phone, try and draw that length into the spine. All right. The first breath we're going to do is breath of fire, which is a rapid breath and it's in and out through the nose. So this is very energizing. It's called skull shining breath. And it's one that I come to time and time again. Calms the central nervous system, clears out the mucous membrane of the lungs, and it's very activated. So if you ever feel low in the day, this is a beautiful breath to come to. So as I say, it's a forceful exhale and a passive inhale. Now, even though it's in and out through the nose, the way I like to describe it is like a dog panting. So you can do this with me. Bring your left hand onto your belly and then sit nice and tall, and then just pant like a dog out through the mouth. All right, okay. So you feel the belly, it pumps in, it pumps out, it pumps in, it pumps out. And what you probably noticed there was the exhale was quite forceful, and you probably didn't think about the inhale. Just do it a few more rounds. So the inhale comes in quite naturally. You might think to yourself, well, I'm not inhaling. You obviously are inhaling because, if you weren't, then you'd run out of breath and we'd all go red and we'd be in trouble. So instead of doing it through the nose, instead of doing it through the mouth, we do it through the nose. So it's going to look something like this. Okay, I'll show you a few rounds. Forceful exhale, passive inhale. All right, so that's what it's going to be. I go quite quickly, but you can go as slow or you can go as fast as feels good for you. All right, so sit nice and tall. We'll do 2 rounds of this. We won't go for too long. We'll probably do 50 breaths and then we'll rest. We'll hold the breath for a little bit, retain it, and then we'll do another 50. All right, so sit nice and tall. I like to bring the thumb and the forefinger together. This is called Gyan Mudra. A mudra is just a hand position, and this is the mudra of wisdom and knowledge. And we're all looking for a little bit more wisdom and knowledge, aren't we? All right, sit tall. Maybe close the eyes. Take a deep inhale to begin, and then start your breath of fire in and out through the nose. Take a deep inhale through the nose. Pause the breath. So now the breath is held, but you're not squeezing too much. You're just holding the breath. See if you can feel any energy circulate around the torso, around the belly center. And then you can exhale when it feels good. And then if your eyes are closed, you can just come with the eyes open. All right, so let's do that one more time. When we hold the breath and we retain it, there's that idea that we come right into the present moment. Instead of spending time projecting or time looking into the past. Oh, it was so good then. Oh, or if only it was at the end of the week. We try and come back to the present moment here, heart center. All right, let's do this again. I'm laughing because I do it all the time. I'm always, here and there. So yoga brings us back to the present moment. So maybe the thumb, forefinger together, sit nice and tall, find that beautiful length in the spine, relax the shoulders, take a deep inhale to begin, and then start your breath of fire, in and out through the nose. Deep inhale. Pause the breath, hold it. And a full exhale. And then just let the breath come back to a nice steady rhythm. The eyes can remain closed if that feels good for you. Or just soften the gaze down towards the feet. And then just check in. Notice what you're noticing here. It could be that you're just noticing a little bit more energy in the body. You could be noticing the physicality of the body. You might be noticing the mind at rest. That's a beautiful thing. And then when you're ready, just come with the eyes open. Beautiful, everyone. You can have a little move around here. So you've been sat there for a little bit of time. So you can bring the feet out and then maybe just drop the knees down to one side and then drop the knees down to the other. So your feet are about hip distance apart. You're leaning back into the arms and you're just scissoring the legs. Just moving from side to side. You don't just come down far. You can be here. You can be here. You can bring the legs out. You can give the legs a shake. Make sure you feel comfortable. And then come back with the legs crossed. I'm just going to check in with you guys. Yeah, everything's looking good there. We'll do one more breath exercise. And this one is like bellows breath. So, you know, like the bellows that you used to stoke the fire with, you know, it's like two handles and they bring all this air in and then you push the air out. You bring the air in and you push the air out. So that's what this breath is going to look like. So it's a little bit slower. It's still quite activating. And I'll show you what it works like. So hands are on the knees. Take a deep inhale. You really fill the belly full of air. And then a full exhale. You draw the navel back towards the spine. Inhaling. Exhaling. So you really squeeze the abdomen and you force the belly out. Be proud of your belly. And then you draw all of the air back in. So the navel tucks towards the spine. All right, so we'll do 2 rounds and we'll do 2 rounds of 10. So it's not long. And we'll sit nice and tall again. And I'll start and then just feel ready to join in whenever feels good for you. Again, eyes can be closed or the gaze is just soft. So nice deep inhale, fill the belly. Full exhale. And then just let the breath come back to a nice steady rhythm. Maybe keeping the eyes closed or keeping the gaze nice and soft and then just check in. This time my palms are just palms down on the knees. And see if you can check in. For me, I've got a little bit more heat in my body now. And I feel this little bit of a buzz, like a hum of energy, like an aliveness, like, oh, there I am. You know, I'm noticing myself. Instead of being very subconscious and just getting on with my day, now I'm bringing myself back to this heart center. And we can do this with the breath. We're paying attention. Nice. Let's do one more complete round. So hands on the knees, nice deep inhale, fill the belly with air. Full exhale, squeeze the belly back towards the spine. And then let the breath come back to a nice steady rhythm. Just checking in gently with yourself. Beautiful, nice. And then if your eyes are closed, then you can just bring the eyes open. Nice, everyone. So there we go. Hopefully feeling a little bit different, you know. If you're sat on something, remove what you've sat on and then just come to sit directly on the floor. If you're on a chair or if you're up against the wall, then you can move now. And then let's do the same thing. Feet are out, lean back into the hands and then just drop the knees from side to side. Just feel that release through the outer hips. Get yourself nice and comfortable, or as comfortable as you can be. Nice work. Really nice. And then you're going to come back with the legs crossed. All right. So we'll move a little bit now. So with that in heightened or enlightened energy in the body, now we get to move it around a little bit. Because for me, I'm like, oh, okay, now I'm ready to move. You don't have to do anything kind of too funky. We don't have to do anything crazy where you need loads of strength and loads of flexibility. Because I probably haven't got that either, you know. So bring the hands onto the knees. We're going to do the Sufi Grind. Inhale the chest forward and exhale round. Inhale forward and exhale round. And you just rotate the torso around the hips. So you might start really slowly. You might be here and the spine is a little bit more elongated. There's more length in the spine. You're not really using the hands so much. They're just resting on the knees. And think about the movement from the navel center. There's that idea that all yoga starts from the navel center. So it provides us with that strength and that stability. And that doesn't mean that you have to have this really strong core. When we think about the core of our body, the physicality of it anyway, as being the front, the side, and the back of the body. It's not just, you know, having a six-pack. I'm laughing. I've never had a six-pack. I've never really been that bothered. Not that there's anything wrong with six-packs, by the way. If you've got one, be proud. Nice. So inhaling forward, exhale round. Inhale forward, exhale round. Beautiful. And then come back the other way. Maybe start nice and small again. Get into the movement. And then you can begin to just make it a bit bigger, but only if it's right for your body. So we're in the hips here. We're getting into the lower spine. We're using the breath to enliven the body. Inhaling as you come forward. Exhaling as you round. Eyes can be closed and the gaze is soft. Nice deep inhale, come back to center. Pause the breath, hold it. And then exhale, let it go. Beautiful. So now the hands can palms up or palms down, whatever feels good. And then we're going to move into the neck. So again, make sure you're sitting nice and tall. And then maybe close the eyes or keep the gaze soft. And then just start in one direction. Really, really small. Same thing. Inhale the head up. Exhale the head down. If everything feels okay, maybe you can speed it up. Only do it a tiny bit. It's not about the speed, and you can make it a little bit bigger. But again, it's not about the size. And then next time the head is back to center, just drop the chin down and then come back the other way. Again, maybe start small. And then you can make the circles a little bit bigger. Matching the movement with breath. So the breath is what sustains us. The breath should always be long and smooth and even. If you find you begin to grip and the breath becomes a little bit choppy, just back out. Even with these neck turns, you know, you can hold a lot of tension in the neck and jaw. So it takes a bit of time just to release. And then slowly bring the head all the way back to center. And then a beautiful deep exhale. And then if the eyes are closed, come with the eyes open. Nice. I'm going to uncross my shins and I'm going to bring the other leg in front. And I'm going to have a little wriggle around. So you feel free as well. I like to kind of do this. I press my fingers into the floor and then I feel that activation into my shoulders, you know, and then length through the arms and just the fingertips pressing down into the earth You know, that's yoga. That's paying attention, isn't it? It's paying attention to the sensations in the body. What we're going to do now is we're going to sweep the arms up and down. We're going to match it with the breath. So this gets like a really good way of getting into the depth of the breath. Remember last week when we were on our backs and we had our hands on our belly, and then we had our hands on our ribs, then we had our hands on our sternum. There's a 3-part breath, and we were practicing using the fullness of the breath. So when we do this posture, if I was to look at you, and unfortunately I can't see you, which is one of the problems with this kind of medium, but it's fantastic in other ways. But if I was looking at you, I would see how long your inhale is and your exhale is by how you move the arms. So you're going to inhale up, and then you're just going to touch the fingertips, and then you're going to exhale down, and you're going to bring the fingertips down into the earth. All right, so try and use the fullness of the breath in and out through the nose if it's available, but hey, don't get hung up on it. If you need to use the mouth, feel free. So sit nice and tall, and then let's do this together. So inhaling up, fingertips touch, exhale down, fingertips touch the earth, and then just move in your own time. Once you get that, maybe the third one, you can really begin to work with the fullness of the breath. So I'm going to go slower now. And then exhaling down. So you see how you can draw the breath out. And then you start again, inhaling. And exhaling. Let's do 3 more together. Deep inhale. Full exhale. Nice. And then just keep the fingertips down, pressed into the earth. And then just breathe in a nice natural rhythm. And then again, just see if you can tap into energy within the body. Beautiful. Really nice. The eyes are closed, come with the eyes open. And just using the nice long, deep inhale and exhale there. Number one, physically, we're stretching the body, we're getting to the shoulders, and we begin to work the body physically. But also, if we think about, when we feel anxious, our breath becomes very short and it becomes very choppy. So that is kind of like cutting through that anxiety is when we can begin to elongate the breath and use the fullness of the breath, then we can bring everything down and we can start to calm the central nervous system. And I guess that's why breath work can be so powerful, because it's within us to kind of bring the body back to this natural state. Because probably anxiety, even though you might feel it as like, my natural state is anxiety, the natural state of the body is to be at rest, and it's restful. But the circumstances of our lives and situations can sometimes dictate that anxiety, which I know is very disturbing, But yoga, we can get onto the mat and we can sometimes move into calmness by using the breath. And we can energize ourselves as well. So let's come on to all fours, and then have a nice spread out through the fingers. I always say that, but the fingers are nice and spread, and then the arms are nice and long. And then let's do this, stretch one leg out. You might start with the right or the left, it doesn't matter. And then press into the toes. Nice. For the length through the spine, relax the shoulders down the back as usual. So you're not kind of like here. You feel that length, and then just swap it out. So you just stretch it out all the way from the tips of the toes. I feel this in my calves. My calves are sometimes like and really tight. So this is a nice way to release. And then come back to all fours and just give your feet a tap. Tap them out, the tops of the feet. Come into the toes and then just bring the weight back into the toes. Tap them out again. We get really tight in the bottoms of our feet. And then just stretch. And then one more time. Tap them out. And then stretch into the toes. Nice. From here, split the knees nice and wide, and then we'll stretch out the spine. So the first child's pose we do, I really like to keep this quite active. So I'm in this position, and you can see I can always already begin to bring my sit bones back onto my heels. Now, I can do that, and I certainly couldn't when I started yoga practice. So if you think your hips are a little bit more here, that's cool. And everybody then just lengthen the arms out, and then just flatten everything down to the floor. But the arms stay activated, so you can see, look, my arms are lifted, and then I'm right into my fingertips, and I'm rocking around. So you might be here, where the hips are a little bit more lifted. If it feels too much, just walk your knees in towards each other. So you find a sensation that matches your body today. And as long as you're not hurting yourself, you are in the perfect position. Melt the heart center down towards the floor. Maybe the forehead touches. And remember, you've always got the option of stacking the hands, and you place the hands on your fists or on the arms, whatever feels good for you. Loads and loads of options. And then just stretch down either side of the body. So walk the hands all the way over to the right, and then stretch down the left-hand side of the body. Breathe deeply here. And then walk the hands all the way over to the left, and then stretch down the right-hand side. Let the head be kind of safe. I'm just on my right temple, and my neck and my jaw feel pretty good. And then come all the way down to center, and then press yourself back to that tabletop position. There's no rush to get there. And then the knees, if they were wide, they're going to come in a little bit more. Nice. And then we'll use this lovely motion with cat and cow. So inhale, drop the belly down, lift the head and the heart, and then exhale round into the spine. So that's the movement. You inhale, and then you exhale around the spine. Always going at a rhythm that suits you. Arms are nice and strong. Three more. And then inhale, come back to that neutral spine. And then a full exhale. Nice work, everyone. Beautiful. They're going to stay there. I'm just going to adjust my clothes a little bit here. Feel free to adjust your clothes while I adjust mine. I'm going to tuck myself in. Let's get smart. All right, so come back to all fours if you weren't there already. And then we're going to do a little bit of movement into the wrists, because the next pose after this is going to be a balance, where we're going to use, a little bit more of the wrists physically. So we want to make sure these are warmed up. So the right hand, you're going to turn the right hand out and then towards the right knee. So if you find that the hand only gets to here, that's cool. It's not only, by the way, it gets to here. Naturally, that's where it wants to be. If you can bring it all the way around, great. But there shouldn't be any pain. The left hand supports you, and then you might just start to do little circles. And then you get into the outside of the wrist. You get into the right shoulder, but it's very, very gentle. Spread out through the fingers. And then slowly turn the right wrist back, and then come the other side. So left wrist, turn it out. It might be different from the other side. Right hand supports you, really spread out through the right fingers. And then just bring a little bit of movement. Little hip circles. You can bring the right forward. You can bring the right back. Nice. So bringing all of that strength and flexibility into the wrists, because they can become a little bit weak. And then we ask a lot of our wrists when we're practicing physical yoga. And sometimes they grumble a little bit. So this is a nice way just to move into it. And then slowly bring the left hand back to meet the right. And then what we're going to do, you can stay where you are, but then come back onto the heels. I'm just going to turn forward. You're going to bring the arms out so they're nice and straight. And then you're going to straighten the fingers, and then you're going to bend the fingers in. You're just going to move like this. You can match it with breath. Sometimes it's nice to tuck the thumb under and then tuck the thumb over. So you do this. But you don't have to, whatever feels good for you. And then maybe speed it up. Whew, and you really begin to feel this burn a little bit into the forearms. That's okay. And then slow it down. And then bring the arms down and give them a shake. Nice. Let's do one more thing. Bring the arms out again, and then just circle the hands or circle the fists. Doesn't matter which way you're going, but keep the movement the same way on either side. Nice big circles, and then come back the other way. Nice. And again, you might feel it in the forearms. I certainly do. And then come back to center and give them a shake out. And there's all sorts of stuff we can do into the wrists just to kind of keep them moving. There's some really nice stuff we can do. In fact, let's do it. Let's do this. Bring the right hand out and just bend in your elbow. And then with the help of the left hand, you're just going to stretch into the little finger. Then stretch into the ring finger, middle finger. And then come all the way to the thumb. And then come back the other way. You just stretch them out. And you might pause. And you might just be curious about the sensations. And come to the other side. Move all the way up from the little finger to the thumb. Give them a stretch out. Come back the other way. This is all yoga, you know. Use the hands so much. And then give them a shake out. Mine already feel better. All right, come back to all fours. And then we're going to do this lovely pose, which is called Sunbird. It's a balance. And some people are like, oh, no, not balancing. I don't want to do balances. It's nice because you're close to the floor. So even if you did have this thing where you fell out, you ain't going to fall far. You're going to be good. So there's lots of stages to it. So we'll do the full version, all the 3 different stages, and you can just drop out when it feels good for you. So from here, tabletop position, those wrists should feel nice and open now, nice and strong, spread out through the fingers, and then you're just going to sweep the right leg behind you. Nice. All right. Maybe have a look at the right leg. See, my foot naturally starts to spin out. See if you can turn the toes down towards the floor so the leg is in line with the hip. So you're not here and you're not here. You're not here. Ooh, that hurt. So keep the leg in line with the hip. And then you might want to stay here. When you're doing this, you might already feel this kind of like natural activation just at the navel center. Gaze down at the top of your mat. That can help. You might be wobbling around. That's all right. If you want to take it further, do this. Sweep the left arm out. Oh, yeah. Nice. So stretch out through the left fingers. Stretch out through the right leg. You feel this action across the body. So this kind of stretch across here. And again, you might feel wobbly. And you might like the arm might drop and the leg might drop. See if you can find that activation. So you're engaging here. So you might want to stay here. You might want to drop out of the pose and come into child's pose if you want. Feel free. Or you can bend into the right knee. You sweep the left arm behind. And then you grab hold of the foot. And then you kick the foot into the hand. Oh, yeah. So you get this beautiful quad stretch now. And you can gaze forward or you can look down the left shoulder. Think about the right hand. Spread out through the fingers. Find your stability. Nice. Maybe kick the foot a bit higher. And then exhale, bring the hand and foot down. Beautiful. And then just move through the hips a little bit. So maybe do some big hip circles. 2 or 3 one way. And then 2 or 3 the other way. Beautiful. We'll come back to center and then we'll do that all on the other side. So this time the left leg. I always like to have a little visual. See what's going on. Find that length. Find your stability and ease. In Sanskrit, it's called sthira and sukha, stability and ease in all of the postures. Well, that's what we're looking for. If you feel you're wobbling around a little bit, just gaze down to the top edge of your mat. That's called a dristi. That's your gaze point. So that can really help you balance. So maybe sweep the right arm forward. And then again, think about this connection here, navel center. Find your stability. Find your ease. Breathe deeply. This is where you might want to stay, or you can bend into the left knee, sweep the right arm behind, grab hold of the foot, and then just kick the foot into the hand. So you can be here, or you can challenge the balance a bit more, and you think about that rotation from the navel. So now you begin to look down the right shoulder. I'm pretty tight in the quads, so this is a beautiful stretch for me. Keep breathing. Send the breath where it's needed. Always. Nice. One more deep inhale, kick a bit more. And then exhale, bring everything down. And then again, those big circles of the hips. Feel free to sigh it out. Beautiful. Nice. From here, we've got time for a little bit of flow. And probably the whole point of this class was to get to this stage. So what you're going to do, you're going to spread out through the fingers, tuck your beautiful toes under, lift your hips and come into downward facing dog. Oh, yes. And now bend into one knee and bend into the other. Really begin to walk your feet out. And you might feel this in the soles of the feet, all the way up to the hips and right up through the spine. But make it dynamic, really move it around. Breathe deeply. Bend into one knee, bend into the other. And then find some stillness. And then have a look what I do. My feet are about hip width apart, spread out through my hands. You see how long my arms are? So I'm not here. See this kind of thing a lot. Do that. And then look at my knees, they're bent. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to bend them even more. See what I do there. So I bend them more and then my spine elongates. We've done this before, but I'm not the most flexible guy in the world. So if I lengthen my legs and I try and push my heels down to the floor, number one, they ain't going to get there. Whatever I do. And then look at my spine. It's bent. There's a bow in my lower spine. So if I bend my knees and then press into my arms, I can find this inverted V shape. And then I'm thinking about my navel and I'm just drawing it back towards my spine and then my hips lift a little bit more. So some of us need to adapt. That's cool. That's the sign of a really experienced yogi is when we let the ego go and we just go, all right, I need to do this. I always use props in my classes and I use them myself because I need to use them. And there ain't no shame in there. All right. From here, you're probably thinking, stop talking. Remember, down dog is a resting pose. Walk the hands back towards the feet. Nice. And then hang in a standing forward fold. And then same thing. Bring your feet really wide and then bend into the knees and let the head just hang down. Like monkey yoga. Just let the arms swing. Nice. And because the knees are bent, we take that pressure out of the spine. We let the head be nice and loose, and then we're just swinging it out. Maybe bring the weight into the toes, the sides of the feet, the heels, experiment as it will feel. And then find some stillness, bend deeper into the knees with the hands just hanging, roll all the way up. Come to stand. Beautiful. And then what we're going to do is you're going to bring the feet in a little bit, and you're going to look at the top edge of your mat. You're going to close your eyes, only if that feels good for you. And then you're going to walk to the top of your mat. So it takes a little bit of concentration and a little bit of trust. So visualize the top of your mat, close the eyes, and then take these tiny little steps. And intuitively, you will know when you get to the top of your mat. That's the idea anyway. And then when you think you're about right, see if you can line your feet up to the long edge of your mat, and then very gently open your eyes. That ain't bad. Hopefully you did just as well. You didn't walk off your mat, but if you did, that's all right. Not a problem. And then stand in your Tadasana. I'm just going to move very slightly. And then we're just going to flow 2 rounds of Sun Salutation A. Remember, we've done these loads of times. So your feet might be hip width apart. You can bring your hands to heart center. Nice. Take an inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale, fold in low. So again, you might just bend into the knees. Oh, I'm going to bend my knees all the way down. Inhale to lengthen the spine. And then exhale, hands down. Step 1 foot back. Step the other foot back. Nice deep inhale. Lengthen into your plank. Nice. As you exhale, lower to the floor. Remember, you can drop the knees and then you can lower, keeping the elbows tucked by the side of the body all the way down. Inhale. Come through into your cobra. You can keep this lovely bend in the elbows. You don't have to come up far. And then exhale, tuck the toes and see if you can find that connection at your navel center. And then just lift the hips and come into your downward facing dog. Maybe keeping the bend in the knees. 2 breaths here. Deep inhale. Full exhale. A deep inhale. And a full exhale. Nice. Bend the knees into the hips, look between the hands, and then you're going to just step to the top of your mat. Nice. When you arrive, take an inhale, lengthen the spine. Again, I put a little bend in my knees so I can lengthen my spine. And I come up quite high. You might be high, you might be lower. Exhale, fold in nice and low. Press into the feet. Inhale, reverse swan dive. Come all the way up. And then exhale, hands to heart center. Nice. One more like that. Inhale up. Exhale, fold. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale, hands down, stepping it back into your plank. Inhale here to lengthen. And then exhale to lower. So the last one we're going to do, you can drop the knees or you can come all the way down. Just one long line, nice and slow. Inhale into your cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. And then 2 beautiful, long, deep inhales. Exhales. Deep inhale. And a full exhale. Nice. Bend the knees into the hips, up between the hands. And then you're going to propel yourself to the top of the mat. Nice. Just simply step forward. Inhale to lengthen the spine. Exhale to fold it low. And then press into the feet. Inhale, come all the way up to stand. And exhale, you're bringing your hands to heart center. This is Gyan Mudra. And then just pause here and take a couple of breaths. Maybe the eyes are closed or the gaze is soft. And then just check in with yourself, see if you feel any differences. Notice the effect of your practice. Nice. If your eyes are closed, come with the eyes open. And you're just going to come and lie down on your mat. And you're going to lie in Shavasana. So this is the final posture. If you've got a blanket, you can always use a blanket. You want to put some socks on. Put some socks on. We've got a little bit of time here at the end. And get really, really comfortable. Nice. Let the body and the bones just melt down into the floor. Feel your body just totally relaxing here. Nice. I'm just going to read a very short passage from a beautiful book called Journey to the Heart by Melody Beattie. It's entitled Stay Connected to Yourself. The woman was describing her reaction to an area she had visited, a place poisoned by toxic chemicals, a piece of earth maimed and harmed by humankind. It's not that I don't feel connected there, she said thoughtfully. I feel connected, but feeling connected meant feeling connected to pain. The woman was describing more than a piece of land. She was describing a place many of us visit at times on our journey. We feel connected, but we're connected to pain and sadness. We may be reacting to an incident from our past, or we're trying to do something to take place right now. We don't have to run anymore. We don't have to hide. We don't have to leave our bodies or wonder what's wrong. We simply need to feel what's there, even if it hurts for a bit. Sometimes we're healing from toxic beliefs, feelings, and attitudes that we've accumulated. Sometimes there's a message, a lesson to learn, an action to take. That will follow naturally if we're connected. Open to your connection. The price of being connected may mean that we occasionally feel that pain, but the reward for staying connected will be consciousness, guided action, and a beautiful open heart. Just begin to bring a little bit of movement back into the body. Maybe start with the fingers and the toes, and then you can make them a little bit bigger. You might want to deepen the breath and roll out the ankles and the wrists. Nice. And then whatever you want to do to come back to this seated position, you can always roll up if you're feeling quite energetic. You can just roll to one side and then feel free to sit on something. Nice, everyone. Beautiful work this afternoon. Really nice. And then slowly bring the hands to heart center. with a wholehearted bow, just wish yourself well, wish everybody else well. Thank yourself for practicing. Namaste. Thank you so much, everybody. If you're interested, this is the book, Melody Beatty, Journey to the Heart. And there's one reading for every single day of the year. It's a beautiful book, one that I come back to time and time again. I'll be back again next week. And I'm just reading, Sheena says she's got unbelievably tight quads. We can do a little bit about that, Sheena. Well, let's do some stuff with quads next week. Sorry, Lisa, I didn't see that you messaged me halfway through the class. You said, I've just had my booster, should I take it easy? Guess what? I had my booster yesterday in this fair arm here. We took it pretty easy. I would always say that just, however you're feeling, you can usually get a guide of how hard you should be feeling. I've been quite lucky. I've not had pain in my arms, and I took a couple of paracetamol and I felt fine yesterday. But use yourself as that guide. The stuff we did today, we're not doing anything crazy, and we're working quite gently. So I think that what we did today would have done you proud, because we get to move the body, get to move the energy around, and we're getting rid of that stagnation. And that's probably good when we've had a booster. But what do I know? I'm not a medical man, but it makes me feel better anyway. So thank you so much for your time, everybody. I will see you all again next week. It's an absolute pleasure to teach you all. And it's been a beautiful year so far doing this work for the Virtual Village Hall. Take the energy with you, keep loving yourselves, and then pass that love forward every opportunity you get. Namaste. See you next week. Cheers, guys. Bye.